City volunteers overcame difficulties to distribute rice to impoverished families in Zimbabwe. 20 years after the 9/21 earthquake, city volunteers in Sanchong recalled their initial aspirations. Welcome to the Headlines. I'm Siri Su. Thank you for joining us. In the capital of Zimbabwe, city volunteers distributed rice to 870 impoverished families in Sake. Before the distribution team arrived at the distribution site, the tire on their truck went flat. Despite that, the volunteers overcame the difficulties to carry the rice by hands and completed the rice distribution.
Late night, volunteers repack the rice into bags.
The sound you hear is coming from the generator. These residents rely on it a lot since they get an unstable electricity supply.
Volunteers load the bags of rice onto truck in early morning, heading to the distribution area. Due to the bumpy road, the tire went flat a mile away from the final destination. Thus, volunteers carried these 10 kilograms bags of rice.
Life is a struggle here. Before receiving these rice bags, we could only have one meal a day. Now we can have 3 meals every day.
During the distribution, volunteer found a local resident who was abandoned by his family after his eyes went blind. Volunteer went up to care for him.
We are very grateful for your help.
Now, volunteers pay regular visit every week, helping the resident overcome difficulties, spreading the endless love of Tzu Chi in Zimbabwe.
In the Philippines 6 years ago, in the aftermath of Typhoon Haiyan, city volunteers trained youth volunteers and formed a youth band. Since then, the cycle of love continues to spread. As the city government celebrated Ormoc City Charter Day, it invited the city youth band to join the ceremony parade.
The rising sun brings hope for a brand new day in Ormoc City. Tzu Chi Youth Band got up early rehearsing for the upcoming performance. They were invited by the city government to celebrate the Ormoc City Charter Day.
Thanks for the invitation of city government. We're very excited to join the ceremony by showing our talents to the people of entire Ormoc City.
The Tzu Chi Youth Band was formed after Typhoon Haiyan disaster in Da'ai village, when the Tzu Chi volunteers assisted them to find their personal interests by spreading love through music.
A few months ago, our facilities were burned down by a fire. And all our instruments, our drum, our lyre were also burned. But we are very thankful that many supporters, many donors came to our rescue. I was standing there at the grandstand watching our youth band passing by. I was so proud. And I heard many comments on the side that they were also very amazed with our Tzu Chi youth band.
Very successful.
Even the mayor stood up and saluted our performance because it was very unique. We are neatly lined with well-discipline.
Very unique.
In the parade, many Tzu Chi youth volunteers also helped collecting plastic bottles on the streets. Throughout the day, Tzu Chi Youth Band brings passion through music to the entire Ormoc City.
Dharma masters from the Jingsi abode have led city volunteers to visit Barack Obama Male Leadership Academy and Barbara Jordan Elementary School in the United States. While at the Obama School, the students sang a Chinese Tzu Chi song to welcome these guests. Meanwhile, the students at Barbara Jordan Elementary School shared Jingsi aphorisms they learned. Students at both schools seized the opportunity to express their gratitude for city volunteers.
Oh, Stephen, how are you? Oh, it's good to see you.
I promise you to come here.
You did, and you made it. Great.
The former and current presidents of the Barack Obama Male Leadership Academy welcomed Tzu Chi volunteers. In addition, at the school's morning assembly, the students sing a Chinese Tzu Chi song to welcome the visitors.
And we feel you all like our children. Naturally, at the age of 72, I'm your grandpa.
Since 2011, Tzu Chi has been promoting character education at school. Those students who were once abandoned have become polite and diligent. They also practice saving up in coin banks to help other less fortunate people.
Bamboo banks that we want to provide to you today. It's a little heavy.
The presidents came to Taiwan in March to take refuge in the Master. This time, the Dharma Masters delivered their certifications to them.
本师.
本师.
Yeah, very good.
Thank you.
The students at Barbara Jordan Elementary School also welcomed Tzu Chi volunteers. Wearing neat uniforms, the students shared Jing's aphorisms they learned.
How can we expect to have big accomplishments if we don't start with working on small matters? Master Ching teaches one must strive for good qualities in order to gain people's trust and respect.
The teachers have witnessed how the students benefited from the character education.
In those lessons, they were able to learn more about what character means for them in their daily lives and how they can apply that to their schools.
Your kindness, compassion, and joy in selfless giving will always be remembered. Thank you for all you do.
The school president has displayed the Master's English publication and a picture of them when they travel to Taiwan. She hopes the students will remember how Tzu Chi helped them.
民运.
如运皆空的运.
Tears welled up in the eyes of the school president. She has been reminded again of her mission to promote humanistic education. This year marks the 20th anniversary of the 9/21 earthquake. City volunteers in Sanchong and Luzhou near Taipei City went to Tzu Chi Junior High School in Nantou to bring back an urn. On it are the signatures of around 200 city volunteers. When the volunteers saw their names on it, it brought back a lot of memories. Do you watch the ITV? Here's the real person for the drama My Father's Words. Sister Wu Xue, which part of Project Hope did you join?
I cooked food at the beginning. When I laid the interlocking bricks, we women were used as men, and men were used as supermen.
It's true, when we saw anything needed to be done, we would do it. She said it right. When we see something need to be done, we'll do it.
This is a plumeria. When we completed the first area of glasses, I noticed this small tree was beautiful, so I planted it here. 20 years have gone by, and the root has become so big. This is a special potting.
I've given 50 years to the master, so I'm just 20-odd years old. As for my husband, he became 30-odd years old. He's the same age as the master. My knees hurt, so I can't squat. I have to kneel. We're ordinary people, so when we have pain somewhere, we tend to think we have pain here or there. If our mind also focuses on the area where it hurts, we will feel the pain more. If we focus on reciting the Buddha's name and also remove the weeds by hand, I also feel this is a very good cultivation. Sold them in front of my home. Every car was sold for $200 and everyone loved buying them because the toy cars were sold for charity. In total, we sold over $300,000.
In our next report, we'll meet a leukemia patient who's also a mother. 6 years ago, Luzhou was diagnosed with leukemia. Back then, her husband planned to spend all his savings to try to save her. In addition, her daughter quit the job to take care of her full time. Fortunately, Luzhou found a matching stem cell donor who gave her a second chance at life and saved her family.
你的妈咪有像超人吗？没有。那像什么？没有，什么都没有。真的哦。
In real life, this mother is very brave, as she donated her stem cells to save a patient's life 6 years ago.
In fact, I feel fine about it. But then, my health was in good condition and this was just a filtering process. So, I did not feel that nervous. Besides that, matching up with a patient is really very difficult.
Oh my god! 因为你知道你为什么吗？因为你没有认真。
The stem cell donor is a mother of 2 children and a nurse. Before she made the donation, her daughter was less than 1 year old.
Currently, the medical treatment is very advanced. Stem cells can be isolated by hemodialysis. Therefore, I think the procedure is simpler than before.
The one we should appreciate is the stem cell donor. She is your lifesaver. With her help, you are able to sit here now.
Chen Xinglong speaks on behalf of his wife because she almost died because of her illness.
有的人生病他不敢讲知影，我来讲错误不对。
When some people fall ill, they do not dare to tell their families. I would say that it is wrong. If you fall ill, you need to cry out for help. Once you cry for help, your friends and all the resources and information will come in. Back then, I was shocked.
While fighting the illness, Luzhou has lots of friends supporting her emotionally. Her daughter even quit her job to take care of her.
We would disinfect the restroom in the hospital before she used it. After she used the restroom, I would disinfect the place again. Then she can rest. However, before long, she would want to use the restroom again. I would still disinfect the place again. All of my siblings would do it.
Maybe it is because they saw how I raised them before. I had to do business and raise them at the same time. I had to send them to school and prepare meals for them.
After Li's recovery, she cooks at home more frequently. Her husband jokes about her character.
I only know that the stem cell donor is a 30-some-year-old woman. Therefore, I told her, there is a young woman in your body. Hence, you become more hot-tempered.
In China's Liaoning, city volunteers held a health check for 40K recipients in Shenyang back in September. The result of that health check was that 46-year-old Wang Chunjie discovered she has severe kidney stones. City volunteers helped contact a hospital to give her surgery she needs and also visited her while she was at the hospital.
They arrange for hospital visits. Lying in the hospital bed, Wang Chunjie, a Tzu Chi care recipient, is recovering from kidney stone removal surgery.
The health check from the free clinic saw I had a kidney stone. I had forgotten I had it. It was 6 or 7 years ago when I first learned I had them, but it wasn't hurting me, so I forgot about it. It wasn't until the stones got bigger, right? It got to be the size of a fruit, and the doctor said I needed an operation because it is no longer crushable.
As her condition worsened, she worried about not being able to afford the surgery. Thankfully, Shenyang City's Red Cross Hospital operated for free, and Tzu Chi volunteers took turns caring for her and visiting her.
My hospital roommates tell me I'm so fortunate to have so many people here visiting me. I say it's different people each day. In the past 10 days, people are taking turns. I let them know I have a big family. Everyone comes to visit me.
The volunteers take turns taking care of her because her mother is older and her daughter is too young. We are happy to treat her like a family.
On this day, Wang Chunjie is still in recovery, but her face is constantly smiling. There are volunteers giving her nutritional soup and massages.
The best way to have the healthy life is to have a healthy heart. When your heart is positive, elements won't find you.
They also added her into their chat group where they discuss Jing's aphorisms.
自己的心要常常放宽些，有时候人并没有要欺负我们，而是我们自己的心去给人欺负。
毕业以后，我们就从陌生人变成了亲人，大家爱的传递和这种爱的力量呢，也能温暖他的心。
The distance that food travels is not easy to calculate, as ingredients frequently come from different countries. Some of it requires refrigeration, or what is called a chill supply chain technology. This industry is very developed in Taiwan, but in many countries in Southeast Asia, their technology is not very sophisticated. Today we visit Vietnam, including food processing facilities and traditional markets in the Mekong Delta, to see how food is prepared.
After putting on the dust-proof clothes and headgear and gloves, we need to walk through this disinfectant-containing bleach to enter the food processing factory to view their operations. Only 60% of a good potato can be used, as the rest are scraps.
This year we will have more than 200 tons of food scraps.
Ingredients are carefully inspected for bad color, shape, or smell, which are important in attracting customers. This worker pours in a large amount of cream and stirs it evenly. At this time, the potato chips become thick and creamy. The pieces were arranged in a flower shape, then fed into a 220-degree oven. After 15 minutes, the food to be cooked in a microwave is finished. These golden cream potato chips are now packaged together. The appearance, fragrance, and flavor are all perfect, but before these processed foods are brought by consumers, airborne bacteria may adhere to them and begin to breed. These ingredients must be put into this freezer, which operates at minus 45 degrees. After a few seconds, it feels so cold he can't stand it. This very low temperature freezing process requires the company to pay a high electricity bill. But if it is not done, whether it is processed food, vegetables, fruits, and meat, it will be corrupted during transportation and endanger food safety.
In Vietnam, actually, the frozen food industry is held to relatively high standards. This is because supply chain for cold food is relatively underdeveloped. This has been found to be the cause behind common food contamination in Vietnam.
Vietnam's cold storage logistics industry is relatively backward. In recent years, foreign companies have entered this market and transferred technology. No matter if it is food to be cooked in microwaves, this food needs to be prepared at normal room temperatures. A bakery with more than 120 workers all have to wear protective clothing throughout the entire process to avoid contamination of the ingredients.
If you are a foreign company that violates the law, the government will fine you, and you have a limited amount of time to make improvements.
Foreign food factories are strictly regulated by Vietnamese authorities, but small local food factories in urban and rural areas mostly lack such cold supply chain equipment that the local government is simply unable to check them one by one.
Vietnam also has problems with unregulated and scrupulous food producers.
How to make ingredients non-perishable depends on the logistics chain, but most livestock farmers and others in Vietnam do not have such technology. Therefore, they use the traditional methods passed down by their predecessors. Mainly, they use boats or other land transportation to cut down on delivery times. Here's the Taiwan floating market in Vietnam. You can see that the transportation of people, as well as fruits and vegetables, is done by boat. As long as two boats approach each other, business can be done directly here on the river.
The Vietnamese will have a large boat delivered to a smaller boat, or a smaller boat going directly. The most important thing is the ability to quickly transport products to the market for sale.
I picked up the fruit from the previous afternoon and shipped it to the floating market at 3 a.m. today. The Taiwan floating market is the largest trading market in the Mekong Delta. From 100 years ago, Vietnamese ancestors used water transport to preserve meat and fruits.
When it comes to harvesting, they will pay great attention to the transport time of their food because the Vietnamese do not eat food left out overnight. So they pay lots of attention when they harvest food.
The fresher the ingredients, the better the food and the less amount of bacteria. Today, better supply chain technology regarding chilled foods shared by advanced countries with developing countries. This, however, could make it possible for contaminated food to cross international borders and part of our diet.
The Canadian Richmond Parks Bureau has invited city volunteers to join a pumpkin carving activity held in the Richmond Park. Volunteers carved the pumpkins creatively to celebrate Halloween. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you for joining us. Goodbye.